Liblingo Idioms 1, food related. This presentation requires you to have a basic knowledge of English, so it's been put down as intermediate level. But if you are not intermediate level and wish to check out the video, please feel free. You may well ask, what is an idiom? Well, an idiom is a phrase or expression that has a figurative meaning. Hence, its meaning cannot be discussed by just looking at the words in the sentence. The meaning of the idiom is usually linked to culture or history. Learning idioms can be fun, and it can be fun using them as well. We're going to be looking at food idioms, and on this slide you can see a few of them. They're quite fun, as you will discover. So, repeating myself, can you translate an idiom? No, an idiom cannot be translated unless a similar idiom exists in the culture of that language. So, for purposes of this lesson, the words in the idioms may be translated, but it will not bear reference to the actual meaning of the idiom. For the first idiom, a bad apple. A bad apple. A bad apple is a bad influence. A bad apple is someone who brings trouble. That boy is a bad apple. He's always getting into trouble, and he has a very bad influence on his younger brother. The origin of a bad apple. The metaphor bad apple actually originates from this proverb: a rotten apple quickly infects its neighbor. Its use was first recorded in 1340. Rotten is a synonym for bad. A bad apple will easily infect other nearby apples. A couch potato. A couch potato. A couch potato is an idle and lazy person. My brother sits around all day watching TV, and so I would definitely describe him as a couch potato. The origin of this idiom. It is said that this idiom originates in the 1970s in America by a comic artist who drew two idle, inactive, and lazy characters, which he named couch potatoes. A hard nut to crack. A hard nut to crack. A hard nut to crack is a difficult person to understand. A hard nut to crack can also be a difficult problem to solve. We just couldn't solve this problem, but in the end we did. It was a hard nut to crack. Origin. A hard nut to crack is a metaphor that makes reference to the tough exterior of a nutshell and how hard they are to crack open. It has been in use since the 1700s. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. A piece of cake means something easy. I had no problem passing the exam. It was a piece of cake, easy peasy. The origin. The origin is pretty ugly. In the 1870s, cakes were given out as prizes for winning competitions, such as one where slaves would be asked to circle around a cake, and then the most graceful, so to speak, pair of slaves would win the cake. As the slaves considered the competition a mockery and easy to win, the expression a piece of cake began to mean something easy to accomplish. A smart cookie. A smart cookie. A smart cookie is a clever person. He's such a smart cookie. He worked out what we were up to, and so we couldn't fool him. The origin. In 1920s, cookie became a positive slang term for a woman. Subsequently, it started being used with the adjective smart and has since then lost its feminine connotation and now just refers to anyone who is smart or clever. The big cheese. The big cheese. The big cheese is an important person. He inherited the company upon his father's death, so he's the big cheese now. Origin. The big cheese comes from an Urdu word, chiz, meaning a thing. As British and Urdu cultures merged with the British colonization of India, it resulted in the phrase the real chiz to mean a big thing or event, which then evolved over time into big cheese. Bread and butter. Bread and butter. Bread and butter refers to the basic necessities of a person or business. This job was his bread and butter, and now that he's been made redundant, I'm not quite sure what he's going to do. Good journalism was the bread and butter of this company, but now with the boom in fake news, things have changed for the worse. Origin. The expression refers to basic material necessities, a means of living, in 1685 and is a figurative use of the words for the basic food, bread and butter. Cut the mustard. Doesn't cut the mustard. It doesn't cut the mustard means that it doesn't meet the required standard. It's not up to the mark. I'm afraid, but your shoddy workmanship just doesn't cut the mustard, and so we're going to have to let you go. Origin. One theory is that it may be associated with the military word muster, meaning to gather troops for inspection. If you pass muster, you pass inspection. Then why cut? Again, one can only speculate it, so the origin is not clear. Now you choose the correct idiom from the 6 idioms that we've looked at. Which one would be applicable for this sentence? He's rotten to the core, and what's worse, he has an effect on all his friends. The next one. Choose the correct idiom for this sentence. You really need to get more exercise, and you've put on a lot of weight lately. Finally, what about this one? He's too important to talk to me. I'm just a lowly secretary. Okay, so these are the idioms we've chosen. He's rotten to the core, and what's worse, he has an effect on all his friends. He's a bad apple, I'd say. You really need to get more exercise, and you've put on a lot of weight lately. You're turning into a couch potato. Finally, he's too important to talk to me. I'm just a lowly secretary. He's the big cheese in the company. Now you choose the correct idiom here. I'm afraid to say this, but your work just hasn't been up to much lately. Next one. Most of our profits have come from selling DVDs, but now in the digital age, that is going to have to change. I just can't keep up with her. She always has the answers. Check and compare your answers. I'm afraid, but your work just hasn't been up to much lately. This shoddy workmanship just doesn't cut the mustard. Most of our profits have come from selling DVDs, but now in the digital age, that is going to have to change. The bread and butter of this company is going to have to change. I just can't keep up with her. She always has all the answers. She's a high flyer and a smart cookie. Find and follow Liblingo on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and on our website www.liblingo.com. Thank you. Bye bye.